Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian. Will Cain and Jesse Watters, though, tee off on Jessica Tarlov because she doesn't just miss the whole point of this conversation, she misses the entire plot. Let's dive in.
Voters have seen how Donald Trump has behaved since he came down that golden escalator. They want to win. They saw Jay Jones as someone who said, I am ashamed. They saw that Todd Gilbert, who he sent those text messages about, accepted his apology. And what's really interesting is the woman who leaked the text messages, who was running for her seat, she's a Virginia delegate, she lost her race, but Jay Jones won. This was a complete repudiation of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And if you want to pick and choose which candidates you focus on, that's your business. But Democrats are running as a big tent party. And AOC said that. She was interviewed on election night. And she said, no one is saying that Mamdani should run in Virginia, and no one should say that Spanberger should be running in New York City. We're accepting of all of this, and it is the way that we will not only take the majority back,
A quick check. I mean, you say it was a repudiation of Trump, but the last time a presidential candidate that's Republican won in Virginia 20 years ago, New Jersey 35 years ago, New York City, it's been 20 years since a Republican won.
Right,
so you wanted blue states. That's great.
Right, but it's really interesting, actually, because the amount that Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger won by is directly proportionate to how unpopular Donald Trump is in those states. I'm just saying, if we all want to win, right? I want my team to win. I'm wearing my colors. You want your team to win. Just pay attention to what happened. The talking points are not going to get you over the finish line.
Well, I mean, you know who's really unpopular? Kamala Harris. And she got smoked. And she lost every single battleground. And that's why you guys are shut out of every single ounce of power in Washington. Jessica, Donald Trump is blessed with the best enemies. The minute Nancy Pelosi leaves San Francisco, Kami Mandami comes into New York City. Muslim, immigrant, short, beard. He wants to legalize prostitution. Injection sites, government-run grocery stores. I cannot wait to send Johnny there. What is a government-run grocery store? Nobody even knows. The guy can't even bench press 135 pounds. He's going to be mayor of New York City. What is he going to throw out the first pitch at a Yankee game? Let's see it. What is he going to go to a funeral when one of these NYPD officers passes away? I doubt it. Could you see him standing next to Donald Trump on 9/11? Absolutely not. This guy's in way over his head. Yes, he did talk about the cost of living, but he has no policies that's going to do anything about it. If you let Trump deport the 2 million illegals that poured into this city, that's going to bring rent down. If you build more housing and apartments, that'll bring rent down. If you build pipelines and bring power plants back online, that'll bring utility costs down. Jessica, it's something called supply and demand. I read about it when I was in college. I'm not sure you did. I know Kami Mandani did not. One of the things you also need to do, it's not just the government, the people that live here that got women's studies degrees from Swarthmore that now can't get a good-paying entry-level job in the city, they need to not DoorDash $30 hamburgers. Instead, maybe go walk around the block and pick it up for $6. Or maybe, just maybe, learn how to cook.
And Will, I would note...
I learned how to cook.
Jesse always with the zinger.
I learned...
John's a really good cook, my husband, I will say. Look, Will, Trump's approval rating is roughly the same as Obama's, I would note. And also, I would argue the problem is he wasn't on the ballot. When he's not on the ballot, Republicans underperform. Go back and see 2018. When he's on the ballot, we win.
Jessica contends that this is a repudiation of Donald Trump and that we're picking and choosing New York City or Seattle to suggest there's a larger narrative.
Seattle's not even settled.
However, as unseemly as it might be to join Jesse in this attack on Jessica Tarlov, I will point out what I think is some reality. And that is, let me take you at your contention that it's a repudiation of Donald Trump. I don't think it is. I think you played a home game. I think you played nothing but home games. In Virginia, in New York, in Seattle, in Minneapolis, in
Georgia,
New Jersey,
Ohio.
you played home games. If you'd have lost, it'd have been embarrassing. You won on blue field. That's what you did on Tuesday night. But let's just for a moment take your contention that it is a repudiation of Donald Trump. I played it today on the Will Cain show. James Carville said, I'm tempted to run a convicted pedophile for office, bragging about the fact that Jay Jones, with his text, just ran across the finish line and won at AG in Virginia. He's proud. He thinks it's a repudiation of Donald Trump. He thinks it says something about the Republican brand. I think it says something about your voters. I think if you're proud of Tuesday night then you have a real problem in your party. If you're proud of voting for Jay Jones, you have a problem in your party. If you're proud of Zohran Mamdani, if you're proud of Omar Fattah, you've got a problem in your party. I don't think this had anything to do with Donald Trump. Or if it did, it's not a good enough reason for what we saw on Tuesday.
I'm sorry to break your heart, but if you look at the exit polls, you know that it was about Donald Trump and this economy.
That's fine. I just accepted your premise. What I'm telling you, Jessica, is that's embarrassing.
Okay. Mikey Sherrill is embarrassing. Abigail Spanberger is embarrassing.
If it's so important for you to repudiate Donald Trump that you're willing to go for Zohran Mamdani or Jay Jones, it's not that we should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed of that motivation.
And I would also note Mamdani, who's about to be the headline of every network.
Will Cain is 100% correct. There is a problem with Democrat voters. All of them. Unfortunately, it's all of them. This is not a fun topic to talk about because we're at an impasse because either they are willfully ignorant of their own candidates, which a lot of them are. I think about 70% of Democrats are willfully ignorant of their own candidates. I've got friends that vote Democrat, and they don't know when I tell them Jay Jones fetishized the idea of putting foreign objects, a bullet, inside the skull of his opponents and his children. That means if 70% are willfully ignorant, what does that mean about the rest? That means 30% of them love this idea and wish they could do it themselves. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And Jessica Tarlov is a part of that 70% of willfully ignorant because she's trying to spin it as best she can. I say time and time again that Jessica Tarlov's problem is the fact that she is just so liberal to the point where she can't take and adopt any other talking point. She refuses to do so. What we're seeing in American politics right now, however, isn't just the Jay Jones problem. And now I'm terrified of ever traveling to Virginia. Because if I happen to get pulled over and let's say the police want to do something to me, which, by the way, is a thing, I am terrified that an attorney general will call down and say, hey, no, this guy is a conservative influencer. Do not give him justice. Give him the opposite. And I'm sorry, that's a very real scenario that I truly believe can happen. It's also why I'm not going to Minnesota, where guys like Tim Walz and their insane policies of letting in nearly every single person that claims to be a refugee and then electing those refugees who don't understand how our government works and instead wants to basically bring Somalia to America instead of making Somalia into America. Sorry, wants to make America Somalia instead of making Somalia America. The reason that young Democrats look at Mamdani and think, oh, he's totally me, is because he is a non-threatening, outside of the norm kind of person, which means that women will look at him and think, oh, that's husband material. And I mean young women. And when I say young, I mean under 40, which should not be considered young anymore. Young women should be considered under 30, but young women under 30 voted for Mamdani in part due to this reason. But there are other factors. We thought, for some insane reason, that we can trust the system. We can trust the public education system to raise our children, when in fact they've turned us into brain-dead little monsters. We can trust the Walt Disney Corporation to entertain our children. We've got a VCR and a DVD player. This is a babysitter for 90 minutes. It's going to work, right? No, we got taught the worst possible lessons for a society. For instance, The Little Mermaid taught us that you can be the worst kind of girl imaginable, nearly destroy 2 kingdoms, and get rewarded for it. And that's a really bad way to wrap it up, but the reason I'm talking about these cultural issues is I'm trying to describe how we got here. We got here because the communists won over the public education system. They learned from Mao. Mao taught them to go after the children. We've been seeing that in droves ever since parents got an opportunity to look at the lesson plans during the lockdowns, turn a couple of pages and go, you had a drag queen story hour, little Timmy? Who signed off on that? Thanks, Timmy. I'm going to your next PTA meeting, and I'm going to protest this. And you know what happened to those parents? They got put on FBI watch lists because they didn't want drag queen story hour. They didn't want sexualized books in their elementary school libraries. They didn't want this LGBT nonsense. Guess who's teaching your kids, folks? We trusted the public education system even in the 3rd grade when I couldn't help but notice that the Time magazine for kids that they gave us was all about green energy, was all about saving the rainforest, and it was all about the situation in Darfur. I didn't know where Darfur was on a map. I'm in the 3rd grade. I need to be learning how to climb a tree, hit a baseball, and watch Schoolhouse Rock. That's how bad our education system has messed up. So now you have Boomer and Gen X types thinking that Democrats are just these good old-fashioned 90s-style Democrats that want strong borders, they want to protect labor unions, they want to help you own a home. What they haven't realized is they've turned into this awful chimera of people that want the drag queen story hour. They want to make your kids weird. They want to destroy the nuclear family, which, by the way, if you've stripped everything away and create the nuclear family will always fall into decay. The family needs to get bigger, okay? We need to go back to the Waltons. The nuclear family needs to get bigger. It's too small, it's in decay, it's in free fall right now. And it's because Republicans don't understand what's happening, because they refuse to understand what's happening. Democrats, for the most part, like what's happening. They like it. They think this is a good thing. They think this is liberation. It's not. It is destruction. We are now having to deal with Democrats who are okay with putting bullets in the skulls of their opponents. We saw what happened with Charlie Kirk, by the way. The hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people who cheered it on. That's what we're dealing with, folks. But let me know if I'm off base at all. Let me know if I'm resonating with you. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbroll. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. If you want to become members on this channel, become Politbrawlers, if you feel led, pay a couple of bucks a month. You're going to get special content catered directly towards you and your proclivities, because that's where we'll listen to you the most, because you have the most at stake. That helps keep our channel afloat, keeps us giving great news here to y'all in order to break the veil that the mainstream media keeps trying to put upon you. But do so only if you feel led. Until next time, y'all have a good one.